Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for either tuning in or coming in tonight. This is a meeting of the Chelsea Licensing Commission. Today is Thursday, October 12th, 2023. Here with me tonight, we have fellow commissioners Emily Cherniak, Alexandria Christmas, myself, Marnie McAlpine, as well as our licensing clerk, Naomi Lebron, and our assistant city solicitor, Peter Christopher, and Captain Betts from the police department. To start, if we could have an adoption of the minutes of our September 14th, 2023 Chelsea Licensing Commission. Someone can make a motion?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving right along, Naomi, if you can give us the clerk's update, please.
Concerning Acapulco Restaurant, the owner came in and informed me that they had a fire on September 14th and they will be closed. The reason why is because they have a liquor license, so they have to notify the licensing department that they'll be closed. License renewals, December, alcohol, common particular, amusement and entertainment, rooming house, class 1, 2, 3 are up for renewal. They have to renew before December 31st of this year. Constables, I believe that Captain Betts should speak about the constables or no?
Well, we can speak briefly about the process that we're trying to adopt and the identification process that we're trying to implement. And I believe there was one ID that has been issued, but it hasn't been picked up yet by the prospective constable. But the chief and I think the city solicitor are going to maybe go down a different road as it pertains to licensing for constables, but that's yet to be determined.
Those expire December 31st. And I believe the police department decided on 1 year renewal until the process is complete. And then La Esquina Mariachi Restaurant, Captain Betts, you're up.
We're talking about the La Esquina Mariachi, not to be confused with the other restaurant of similar name, Casa Mariachi. This one is at 170 Washington Ave. And it's in regards to a potential license violation due to the fact that they were not able to provide timely video for a sensitive investigation that CPD was conducting. There was a request made on October 4th and October 5th. Officers went to that location to speak to the proprietors to obtain this video for an incident that occurred on September 17th. 2023 between the times of 12/7, and that was within the time frame that's specified by the Licensing Commission for the 30-day period. And they were told, two officers were told, both Officer Perez and Officer McLaughlin, who's here tonight, that they weren't able to access the video, nor was there any video available for that particular day. And then Officer McLaughlin had gone back to speak to the proprietor/manager, Alcide Perez. She met with a bartender, if you will, or somebody on the staff that was there that time to serve a letter that we basically were going to request the video, which we had already done, to no avail. And Officer McLaughlin was told that the proprietor would be there in a short amount of time, and he never did show up. Is that correct? Okay. It was made aware a couple of days later that he had come into the lobby, but again, he's made no effort, to make known that his system, may or may not have been functioning as per the city ordinance, nor has he come forward to state that he has any video from that date in question. And the investigation, as I said, is ongoing, but it's sensitive in nature, so to disclose any facts to it, I think would be wrong. But just by virtue of them not being able to provide the, required materials pursuant to the license, they'd be in violation.
So are you asking for the commission to
I would ask the commission to bring them forward for a licensing violation at the next hearing, next month.
Understood. I would like to make a motion to have La Esquina Mariachi appear before us at our next meeting for a disciplinary hearing. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain. And so I just want to confirm, we went in there 2 times asking for it?
2 times, correct. And
Okay.
then it's my understanding that that gentleman, or a gentleman from the establishment came into the police department, but he's made no other proactive attempts to, make it known that the system wasn't working or that he may in fact have what was requested.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question? Is there a number of days that they have to provide before they're in violation of their license?
Well, they're automatically in violation if they can't provide the video.
Correct.
As they are supposed, correct me please if I'm wrong on any of this, they are supposed to maintain 30 days worth of video, and upon request from the city or police department, they are supposed to provide that information. I would think, you said in a timely manner, so what sort of a delay would you permit, assuming maybe, which shouldn't be the case, but the manager or owner is not accessible on the day that you requested the information?
Well, I would just, direct your attention to the last couple of meetings where we had another establishment that wasn't able to provide it, so we went back a few times because we understand there are technical glitches or, people aren't accessible at different times. And we didn't have any success at that location, so we did go back, that second time. And again, there's no hard, steadfast rule as to when you can or can't. It would all depend basically on the nature of the investigation, if you will. So the more sensitive the investigation, time would be of the essence to get the material that we needed in order to maybe possibly charge somebody in a timely fashion. So everything is time sensitive, but well within those 30 days, they're supposed to keep and provide it, I would say, as quick and rapidly as they could.
So is it reasonable to state that we would expect to be able to be provided with that video, or not, and by we, I mean the police department or the city, within a 24-hour, 48-hour time period?
I would say, at the worst-case scenario, 72 hours for an incident that may not be, like felonious in nature. A motor vehicle accident is kind of like a ground ball type thing, but anything that rises to the level of a felony, I would say maximum 48 hours, or at least make an ongoing attempt to bring yourself before the police or the board to say, we made an honest attempt, we didn't have the code, the system crashed, any number of excuses that you may or may not provide that are valid, but at least provide, some direction to us so we know.
Yeah, you're leading to my point, because within 30 days, September 17th is the date that you asked. And then in a few days, that 30-day window, it may be erased. By the time we bring them up to November, I'm just curious, is it ongoing or it's just for that one day? And I know you don't know the answer.
For that particular incident, it was only requested for 1 day.
So I'm just curious now, like, if it's up and running.
Have we checked to see if their video is up and running and they have access in general to their video?
I have not personally gone back there to do it. We had another incident, last week that I think superseded everybody's ability to go out and scour for
Understandable.
video.
Understandable.
We can do that.
I would ask that if obviously pending
Sure.
other situations not arising, that obviously will take precedence when they're of a violent nature in particular, I would ask if we can pay a visit to the location, make sure that it's at least operational and that we have access to the system, because otherwise, as we know from the last location that we were dealing with, they shouldn't be operating if they do not have the necessary requirement.
Correct. Okay. We'll
Thank you.
Make note of that.
Thank you, I appreciate that, Captain.
The motion still stands.
Yes, the motion still stands.
Okay.
This is just in addition to make sure we're not continuing to operate without video. That way, if another situation should arise between now and when we're meeting in another month, we know that they're doing what they're supposed to do, because otherwise, that's another month of them being in violation.
Correct. So we can go by there either tomorrow or Saturday and make sure it's, whatever condition it's in, and I can report back to the commission via email
Appreciate that.
within a few days.
Thank you.
And again, just so everybody's clear as to why we have this video system, it's for the safety of everyone. It's for the businesses, it's for the residents, and when there are instances that occur in our neighborhoods, the police rely on this information from all of these video systems. I find it disturbing that we've now had 2 of our locations in the city that are not in compliance with the video surveillance. There's a reason that rule is in place. So for any of our licensees that are listening, please make sure your systems are in place. It protects you, it protects the restaurants, and believe me, we don't want to have you come before us for something like that. So please just do your part to abide by the city's rules. Anything else, Naomi?
Nothing else.
Okay. I did have a quick question on your update on Acapulco. Understand that they had the fire and that they are closed. Did they state if this is a temporary closure, permanent closure, period of time?
They didn't give me a time frame. They were waiting for insurance information and everything that goes along with it. I didn't get a fire report, so I don't know how extensive the fire was, but there was a lot of water damage. So, but I spoke to the owner and I said, once it's ready to reopen, please let us know. So,
And is there a certain timeline typically where they're going to have to get in touch with you? I feel like there was a situation in the past where if a license is not in use for, I want to say 6 months.
6 months.
So we'd put the 6-month kind of marker out now, and if they're not reopened, make sure that they're touching base with us and let us know an update. Obviously, when
will.
you're talking insurance and that whole game, and potential construction afterwards, that could take some time.
Correct.
But I want to make sure it doesn't just fall off the radar.
Duly
Okay.
noted.
Moving on, we have, and before I state this, anybody who is speaking this evening, if you could please make sure that you step up to the microphone and speak clearly into it, include your name and reason why you are here before us tonight, as this is being recorded, and it also picks it up so we can hear you a little better up here too. So next on the agenda, we have a public hearing to consider a livery license application for Thomas D. West, DBA Boston A to Z LLC at 160 Commandments Way, number 207 Broadway, Chelsea, Mass. Are they here before us this evening? Perfect. Step right on up, sir.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Thomas West, 160 Commandant's Way, and I'm here for a livery license.
Wonderful. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and any prior experience in the industry?
Sure. I am 75 years old. I'm retired. I live on a fixed income. I've been driving Uber the last 5 years. I've done 15,000 rides in those 5 years. I've had no at-fault accidents. I maintain a straight 5-star rating from my last 500 users, so they seem to like my driving. I would like to do car tours of Boston and drive Uber Black, and apparently do so I need a livery license. Both of those services are completely phone app-based. The way I drive Uber is I get up in the morning, I drive into Boston, I turn on the app, I drive for the day, I come home. So I'd like a livery license.
Questions from my fellow commissioners? Nothing? And I think you already answered a bunch of the questions that I had had. You did mention that you're interested in doing sightseeing tours. So is this something that you are going to be offering yourself, or would you be doing it as part of another company?
I've been working with there's a network-based service called Tours by Local. They're a worldwide organization that provides leads to individuals in cities. And they would be the source of my business. I would work with them through a phone app.
Very nice. And you obviously mentioned your ratings that you have through doing Uber. Am I correct in assuming that your history driving in general is pretty clear?
I don't remember my last at-fault accident. It was probably 10, 15 years ago. And like that, I've done 15,000 rides in the last 5 years, and I haven't had an at-fault accident, and I haven't had a moving violation for that matter.
Good for you. Good job. Captain Betts, anything from the police department?
No, there's nothing that would, I think, prevent him from being able to obtain his application and his permit.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this matter? Seeing no one, would one of my fellow commissioners like to make a motion
A motion.
to
Motion for delivery license application.
approve it, correct?
To approve it.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much for your
The
time.
city will be in touch with you about those
Yeah.
final steps.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Good evening.
Next up this evening, we have a public hearing for a blue taxi complaint at 120 Broadway for violating the City of Chelsea Licensing Commission taxi cab rules and regulations, Article 4, taxi meter, Rule 4-5, which states taxi meter determines fare, Article 4, fares, Rule 4-15, which states no taxi cab shall charge in excess of the fare, and Article 5, driver operation of taxi cab, Rule 5-11, which states behaving in a rude manner. Is there anyone here this evening from Blue Taxi to come before us? If you could just step right on up to the microphone for me, I appreciate that.
My name is Nuersi Artica, representing Blue Taxi. I'm the dispatch.
Your dispatch?
Yeah. So I'm here. I'm not getting, like that kind of, how do you say, complaint often. So I don't know, which we're talking about, what day or.
So in speaking, and you saw the letter?
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
There.
So just for a refresher for everybody who's sitting here, we had a resident that put forward a complaint that essentially stated that on multiple occasions she has called for a taxi from Blue Taxi and they have refused to turn the meter on and then charged $10 from 14 Bloomingdale to Market Basket, and apparently that fare is just under $6. So she was complaining about that, and then she also complained that a driver had been very rude upon arrival to pick her up. They had a passenger in the front seat that the driver stated was their girlfriend. She had a father-in-law that was handicapped and unable to sit in the back of the van, needed to sit up in the front. And the driver stated that they would not make their girlfriends sit in the back seat. And so she stated that she'd have to call for a different taxi. She then stated that she called Blue Taxi, and the person that answered was the same person that had picked her up, and they told her that she can go ahead and make a complaint, but it was what it was.
I don't drive, so so I drive, but I don't
She
drive.
stated it was a
taxi.
male. She said it was a male
Yeah,
that
but
answered.
Science, we got a company, Science, I work for the company.
Yep.
Like, take my license, but I never drive. So, the I can drive license, I apply, but I never drive. So, I don't know, and nobody, make a complaint about the address that I
Yep.
know.
Yep.
So, and I'm making a point that we are not always with our drivers. You know, like
Of course.
when we hire somebody, we told about the regulations about the taxi, and they always has to turn the meter on. You know, like I has to approve the flat rate. If it's, you know, like they has to call me and say, okay, see if it's, you know, like it's a flat rate, you know, like good for the customer. And I don't like flat rates either because, you know, like some drivers, they don't give the money or, you know, like I prefer they turn the meter on. So for that address, I don't remember any complaint.
So I do know from speaking to that particular resident that the situations that she was referencing did happen earlier in the year. So
Yeah.
she's talking about events that happened Mother's Day prior. I can tell you that in asking around the community if anybody has had any issues with taxi cabs, I have heard multiple other comments.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm telling you. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but that's what they make the complaint to me. I say, okay, thank you, because if you don't make the complaint to me, I don't know who is rude to you or who's charging you more.
Of course.
Because I'm not with them all the time, you know. And it's some people calling me about the drivers. They start arguing with each other, but some customers too, like, you know, like I have to hear both sides of the story.
And I
I
completely agree with that, but I am a little concerned when I ask our community if anybody's having any issues, and when they say yes, and I ask if there's any particular company, and it's your company that seems to be the one that's named. And unfortunately, they did not make any sort of a formal complaint, but I did have a resident that spoke to me about a charge from Beacon Street to 2nd Street, and they were charged $7, and again, not turning on the meter, refusing to turn on the meter.
We have one driver that he don't work with us anymore. Like we hire him, you know, like beginning of the year, and then we fire him because about 5 people call us in that week saying that he charged more. So, but we already tell him, like, we give it 3 opportunities, like, to change.
Yep.
And then you continue with the same thing, like you don't need to work here anymore. So, but we fire him. So I don't know. From that date
Of
on,
course. How long ago did that occur?
It was like 3 months ago, around there.
You understand the concern that if we do have anybody in the city that is overcharging.
No, and I know, and it's not good for us. You know, like, it's not good for us, but what I say, in my thinking, they have the meter on. So I tell the drivers all the time, put the meter if you go, you know, like, not far away, or, you know, like, you have to turn the meter on. But we spoke with them, we talk, you know, like, but I don't know if they do it or not.
Understood. Peter, if you don't mind, if I just jump over to you real quick. Based upon those rules and regulations, am I correct to understand that based on our rules, they have to turn the meter on? Or do they have an option?
Yep, so that's how I read the rules and regulations that have been passed by the commission, is that each fare, you're required to turn the meter on before you go on the trip. So you would be correct in making that statement.
So no, there shouldn't be flat fees. It should always be
No,
a meter.
we always do like flat, but they turn off the meter with the price, go where the flat, you know, like, for example, somebody called me, how much is to go to Stoneham? And I give like approximately for the miles, you know, like, and they say, okay, it's good, I take the ride. So they turn the meter on and they turn it off if it's way before, you know, like the person is going to arrive. But basically it's not like flat rates, they turn the meter on. You know, like, it's approximately what I give the people, you know, like approximately.
And would that be in compliance? Because it wouldn't be in excess at that point if they stopped the meter prior to arrival.
So I don't know why that would, as an advocate for consumers, I don't know why I wouldn't have an issue with that. I don't know that the board would have an issue with that, and certainly the board, it's within the board's discretion to make a determination about that, but I don't know why that would be, any policy reason why you would be enforcing that if someone was giving a consumer a break.
Right, because essentially you're getting a deal.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah,
making-
because sometimes
making
it's,
sure, 'cause
it's
I don't
more,
want- I don't wanna be
sometimes get more. They turn the meter way before, so, you know, like, it's beneficiary sometimes for the customer, you know, like, but, you know, like, to say no to the drive, we say, okay, we have a deal, you know,
Yeah.
like.
No,
but
that makes sense.
what I say, I have a long time working as a dispatcher, and I don't get that often. It's like, some drivers are rude, but the client is rude, you know, like.
Right.
So, it's,
Well, I think it's also important that our residents know that they need to speak up if they do have issues as well. And
And-
speak up in a timely manner so businesses such as yours can address
Yeah.
it on the spot, or if it is a continuing problem, then it can come before us.
no, and it's understandable, but, you know, like, sometimes, like, in a week, we have, like, 10 people that doesn't pay us, you know, like, or we take them to that direction and other, and, you know, like, and doesn't pay us. You know, like, they leave, they say, okay, I'm gonna get the money, and, you know, like, in that kind of situations, sometimes we refuse to send a taxi to the same address that, you know, like, oh, that driver saw that person, the same person that, you know, like, doesn't pay him,
Yep.
and they say no, and then later make that complaint saying that we're refusing to send them the taxis, and, you know, like, it's unfair they come to work and persons not paying them, you know? So it's like,
Agreed.
both and both.
Fellow commissioners, do you have anything? Peter, you first.
Sure. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut anyone off, but I did just want to say that for the purposes of this hearing, the issue with the taxi meter is a very narrow issue. It's just whether or not, in this instance that was complained about, the taxi driver turned the meter on. So if the city wanted to make a policy moving forward where, you know, there was some sort of flat fee schedule or something like that, that would be a policy decision that could potentially be made. But for the purposes of these regulations, the only issue that's in front of us is whether or not the driver acted in a rude manner towards a person in their cab, and whether or not they turned the meter on at the time. I totally understand your plight about how this is a very difficult industry, and I understand that. But that's just, for what this board is considering is that strict, narrow issue. I just wanted to make that clear for the
Thank you. I
for the board.
appreciate that, Peter. Fellow commissioners, anything either of you would like to address on the matters of the meter or the rudeness of driver,
I have a
as
couple
noted
of
in the complaint?
questions. Yeah, so you say you did the dispatcher.
Yeah.
What is your shift? Because obviously you can be the one.
I always been 7 to 6, 7 to
7
5,
6. Oh, okay.
6 in the morning to 5 p.m.
Oh, okay.
Oh, 6 in the morning, 6 p.m. is vary, but all the time I'm on the phone or him. That's my
Do you keep a log of complaints or incidents that happens to your taxi drivers or to your customers?
Because I don't get that often, you know, like I don't have any. I just remember one, but I don't have that many this year, so that's why I'm confused. And the only complaints that I get is my driver saying, "Oh, they don't pay me," or you know, like, "Oh, the address doesn't pay me," or he's arguing with me because he don't wanna pay me, or you know, like. But it's their own.
So the reason I'm asking is because the person who wrote the letter did call, and for some reason she may have gotten a different person, maybe not you. But you just stated that you did had an incident where you had to let go a driver. So clearly there was a complaint that led you to let go of that driver.
Yeah, because was like our frequently customers, they call every single day. So they call me and say, okay, look, this one is charging me, like you guys doesn't charge me more, but this one is charging me more. So they giving me the taxi number and the person, so like the complaints went to the same person.
Okay.
So I spoke with him and I told him like, give you one more opportunity or three like give him 3 opportunities, but happened 5 times. Because in the same day he made 2. So and I said, okay, look, you know what, go and park the car because it's not, like.
So I think because of the timing and such, it may have happened that it was prior. It could have been this person, maybe not. But
Maybe
you
not.
did keep track of the complaints to let go of that driver.
Yeah.
So going forward, should this happen again, I will hope that you will have some type of log so you could correlate with the complaint and said this has been resolved or it's ongoing, meaning you're investigating it.
Yeah, no, and I give, when the person call, I give him options, and I say, okay, you want a credit for the, like for the next time you call, or, because he's saying that they give him tips,
Yeah.
like, or maybe he's confused, or I don't know, like.
Sure.
I have to, hear his, like, how do you say, hear his part of the story.
Of course.
But I always give them, like, okay, do you want me to return the driver and give you the money? Or do you want me to give you a credit?
Yeah.
Like, for
Yeah.
the next time. But sometimes they say, no, just like, spoke with him, or, like.
Yeah. Do you know how many drivers there's in your company?
It's around, in the mornings, there are 6 sometimes, and
Okay.
5 sometimes. It
How
depends.
many total drivers are employed?
There's 9.
9?
9 drivers.
Okay.
And are you the one that hires and fires everybody? Like who makes that
It's
decision?
my dad and me. It's just okay that like he make that decision. So like he's making like too much. Like we has to fire him, but it's nothing. Just one driver. Like
Sure.
we don't have any problem with the other ones.
Yeah.
So they know the regulations and they know what he spoke with them, and so that's.
I'm good with my questions.
You're good. Emily, any other questions? Captain,
Just
anything?
just briefly, I believe I spoke to Sergeant Northville right after we had the last meeting, and he was going to reach out to somebody from your company and speak to one of the owners just about the allegation of, the overcharging and the fare and everything. I just want to make certain that, that happened, or
Who?
Sergeant John Northville from the Chelsea Police, who is kind of our liaison with the traffic division, and
No.
No.
No, I didn't receive any call from.
nobody came to see you, or nobody called you to just kind of go over the rules and regulations?
No.
No? Okay.
No, because if they told me, police, or I remember I noted on my phone because I put on my phone based on that day. So, like in my notes, but I
Okay.
don't receive any call.
Okay, that's all.
Okay. Is there anybody from the public this evening that would like to speak on this matter? Okay. Seeing no one, I would like to look at this as a warning, if my fellow commissioners are in agreement with that.
I
Uh,
agree, yeah.
And let's say a 3-month warning, and you need to keep a log of any complaints that come in and submit those complaints to Naomi in the clerk's office, so we can determine if it's something that is going to potentially pose a problem. That way we can hopefully get ahead of that for you. And please ensure that your drivers are turning on their meters, because that is something that needs to be done. So if you can make sure that you're making that clear to all of your drivers, that it's not really an option, they have to turn those on, and that way you can prevent that being a problem in the future. And then obviously decorum is huge, it's customer service industry, And as you said, there is always a he said, she said. We do not have specific dates for this particular complaint. Because of that, I wouldn't feel comfortable giving you any sort of a punishment per se or a true disciplinary action without specific dates of situations that we were able to look into further. But I am concerned at the amount of conversations that I had in the community where it was brought up that they didn't turn on the meter. So while we do not have any formal complaints that have come in, that's why I think it's important that we do this warning and you send those logs to the licensing department. Her email, I believe you already have because she's communicated with you about this.
But you say complaints from today and on because
Yes, yeah, we don't have to go backwards. It's starting today for the next 3 months. Just send anything that comes in over to her so that way she is aware of that, have a log coming in. And then, so just send it over via email. And then Naomi will give an update at our January meeting as to what, if any, complaints had come in, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, but if I don't get any and you guys get, like complaints, how that pursue because...
So what I would recommend doing, if you haven't received anything, I would send Naomi an email once a month, just giving her an update, haven't received any complaints this month, wanted to check in and make sure that you were aware. And that way she knows that you are in compliant with the warning, you are taking it seriously, you haven't had anything, you're just letting her know that. And then those communications, or if any complaints come in, all of that she would then bring to our attention in our January meeting. And hopefully it really is a matter of 3 months go by, you send 3 emails to the city stating it's been a good month, we haven't had any incidents, and then she reports back to the commission in January. They're in good standing, nothing has come in, and then we can move on from this matter.
Yeah,
Because we obviously want you to be a successful business in our community. We just want to make sure that your business is also doing right by the residents.
Yeah, it's not a problem. I think it's good.
Anything else from my fellow commissioners?
Thank you.
I would just recommend that the commission continue the hearing until the January meeting.
Okay. So we'll just make a continuance of this public hearing for the blue taxi complaint to the January meeting where we will review this matter. And Naomi will give the update. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
We'll set.
Yes, you all said.
Yes, thank you. Next on our list this evening, we have a public hearing to consider a new wine and malt alcoholic beverage on-premise license application and an amusement entertainment license to EH24 LLC DBA Hampton Inn Boston Logan Airport, Chelsea at 200 2nd Street in Chelsea, Mass.
Good evening. My name is Elizabeth Pisano from Upton, Connell, and Devlin on behalf of the applicant EH24 LLC. This application is for an on-premise wine and malts license at the Hampton Inn Hotel at 200 2nd Street in Chelsea. This is pretty much a brand expectation of the Hampton Inn. It's the same layout, same type of operations as the Hampton Inn in Revere and Seaport. It's for their customers to be able to come in, be able to get get wine or beer or whatever after a long flight, and for their on-premise consumption. The application's also for approval of a management agreement with Hersha Hospitality. They have extensive experience in the food and beverage industry and managing hotels in Massachusetts and across the entire country. And this is also an application for an entertainment license, but it is just for background music in the lobby. It's not for any type of live entertainment or TVs or anything. It's just background music. And lastly, with me tonight is Elizabeth Besso. She is the proposed manager of record. She is the GM at the hotel right now. She has over 10 years of experience in the hotel industry and management. She's worked at other hotels that have liquor licenses. She's tips trained. All of the employees who will oversee the sale of alcohol are tips trained. And we're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Perfect. Thank you for coming this evening. So am I correct in reviewing this that this is kind of a revamp of a hotel that's been there?
Yes.
And based upon the floor plans, there is a restaurant space? Or
There-
It's a breakfast area.
Yeah, breakfast.
Complimentary breakfast. But in
can you just step over, sorry.
we
can't hear.
provide complimentary breakfast to our guests each morning. After 10 a.m., that space then becomes public space for people to consume their own food or beverage.
Okay. And the same goes for the patio space that's noted. There was a comment, I believe it's a 24-seat patio.
Yes, that currently is not active. That will be reactivated in spring.
So in serving that beer and wine, how are you envisioning that it's being served? Is there going to be a bar set up inside of that space, or is it for room service? What's the plan?
So right now they have a marketplace. It's the same in all of their other hotels in the state. So they have a marketplace which is in their lobby. So it's right next, it's visible from the guest services table when, am I using the right word, guest services?
Yes, guest services check.
Yeah, their check-in desk. It's right next door. So if a guest wants to get a bottle of wine or a beer, they would get it from the marketplace and they would bring it when they would check out. If there's anything else that they want from the marketplace, they would check out at the concierge. And that is where the IDs would be checked, and they can either sit in the lobby, they can bring it back up to their room, but it would be on premise only.
And what are the age, is there an age requirement for the concierge if they're handling the checkout?
They are, they're all tip certified. I'm not sure exactly what employees are on at certain times and their ages of whatnot, but they will all be tip certified to be able to properly check IDs.
Okay. Just confirming, to sell alcohol in the state of Massachusetts, you have to be at least 18 years old?
Yes.
Which is why I asked if there's
Yes,
a minimum
yes,
age
yes.
requirement for the position.
You guys know.
We do not have anyone under the age of 21.
The only other real question that I had as I was going through the entertainment side, and then I'll kind of bounce over to you guys. The hours on the entertainment license say 12 a.m. to 12 p.m., so nothing afternoon until 12 a.m.?
I'm sorry, what did it say? 12
It says 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. Am I correct?
think it should have been,
Did you mean 12 p.m. to 12 a.m.?
yes,
Okay,
that was a typo.
that's what I thought. So that would need to be corrected on there.
Yes.
And then you noted a jukebox. There no radio or television.
No.
I just don't want you to not have what you need on this entertainment license and then have to come back before us.
In the lobby?
If it's a menu television,
It's a regular TV? Okay, we need to add one TV.
If it's a menu TV?
nope,
No.
they said it's not. It's a regular TV.
A regular TV?
So can that be revised?
Thank you, ma'am.
So we'll want to make that revision to add, and you said there's only one in the area?
It doesn't matter how many TVs, they just charge one.
Okay. So no radio, it's the jukebox for the background music, and then you have the one television that's going? Correct. Okay. Again, I just don't want you to have to come back
No,
before us.
thank you, we appreciate it.
For a silly thing that way. So a
Yes.
correction to those hours to read 12 p.m. to 12 a.m.
I can do that.
And I think those are my general questions for now. Fellow commissioners?
I have no questions.
Captain Betts?
Yes, just that, I mean, I'm sure you have, state-of-the-art video system
Yes.
in there now.
Yep,
and it-
there's videos, there's a camera right on the marketplace, so,
Okay.
yeah.
And it covers all the other areas that the license stipulations cover as far as the,
Except for rooms.
right, but so the license stipulation says like the exterior bathrooms, entranceways, exitsways, things along those lines, so.
Yes.
sir.
Okay.
It also has 3 cameras within the same lobby area that the
Okay.
guests will be in addition to viewing the suite shop where the alcohol is served from, the front desk where it is purchased, as well as any exits.
Okay, and we can help you out with that too, if you need like certain, avenues to look at, or we can give you a copy of the ordinance, you can look at it and just make sure everything's,
Thank you.
okay.
And so then, were we able to do the background check?
We did,
She's-
yeah, she's fine, no issues at all.
Perfect. Anything else from the police department?
Nope. We're all set.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this matter? So then, before I ask for a motion, if you just wouldn't mind stepping up and sharing a little bit about your experience so far, particularly dealing with liquor licenses?
Sure. I've been in the hospitality industry since I was 14. I started going to a regional technical school. From there, I attended Johnson & Wales University. I also went to the New Bedford bartending school and received my bartending certification as well as my tip certification. I've received additional tip certifications since then, renewing. From my GM experience, I've worked at multiple hotels up and down the East Coast over a 1.5 year period of time, ranging from different services, from limited service to full service, all with varying liquor licenses. So from your full bar service all the way down to what we are doing here of serving it out of the sweet shop.
Wonderful. And how long have you been at the Chelsea location?
I've been in Chelsea since February 6th. Very excited to be part of the Chelsea community as well as the rest of our team.
Perfect. Would either of my fellow commissioners like to make a motion?
Motion to approve the entertainment, amusements, and alcohol. beverages
So new, the wine and malt.
With the, yeah.
So-
With the TP revised, the added to be revised, right?
So Emily's making a motion to approve the wine and malt alcoholic beverage on-premise license application, as well as the amusement and entertainment license, with that having the revision of the hours to 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. and the addition of a television, correct?
Yes.
And can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you very
much.
And last on the agenda this evening, we have a public hearing to consider a change of manager for an all kinds of alcohol beverage on-premise consumption license application for Interstate Management Company, LLC, DBA, Town Place Suites by Marriott Chelsea, 30 Eastern Avenue, Chelsea, Mass.
Hi, good evening.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Very well. Thank you for coming before us.
So, Merari Carrasquillo. I've been in the property. I opened the property in 2015. I've been there. It's going to be 9 years. I just became a GM January of this year. I've been in the hotel business probably 18 years with Marriott. So I'm here to change the name on the license.
Appreciate you coming before us.
Thank you.
If you could just state your name again.
Merari Carrasquillo.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you said that you've been in the hotel industry for 18 years, but
Yeah.
you have been a GM at this particular or recently became the GM.
Yes, but I've been at the property for 8 years, going on 9 when we first opened.
So what were your other roles since 2015?
I was operation manager, AGM, before I became the GM, front office manager. I think I've been everything in the hotel business.
And you chose to take on the big role.
Yes.
Good for you. Questions from my fellow commissioners?
On what month you became a GM this year?
January
January.
1st.
And then, and now you're just changing,
Yeah, the company emailed me, it's like, oh, we have to renew everything, and they're like, you have to change the name, and that's when,
got it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So was the prior manager of record still on property or no?
no, she's not. She still works for the company, but she's not at the property.
And how long has she not been on the property?
Since January.
Since January? Just a thing to note, I believe, and again, please correct me if I'm wrong, moving forward, when there is a change of manager, a company is supposed to let the city know within 30 days of that change.
Okay.
Just to prevent any issues, or if there was a
Yes.
problem, to have it reflect on the proper person.
Okay, yeah.
So just important for you, if you leave there.
Yes, then
You want to
definitely,
make
yeah.
sure on your side, you just let the city know that, hey, I'm no longer there. So that way, if the company hasn't reached out in a timely manner, you've at least let the city know that you are no longer there. And
okay.
they can then reach out to the business to change that.
Okay, okay.
Other questions? Was I correct with what I stated? Thank you. Captain?
Yes, no, I've reviewed the file, and there's nothing in there that would prevent her from, obtaining her request.
Wonderful. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on the matter? Seeing no one? Can I get a motion to approve a change of manager for an all kinds of alcohol beverages on-premise consumption license application?
Motion to approve the change of management.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that is it on our agenda this evening. Before we wrap, I do just want to state that as I've had some conversations in the community, it is super important to make sure you reach out to the city if you are having a problem, so that way we can actually address it. We can't do things if the residents don't report it properly, so super important to make sure those things are passed along, whether it's email, or physically showing up at our licensing meetings, and those meetings are noted on the city website on their calendar. Our next meeting will take place on November 9th, 2023. Meeting adjourned.